First Contact Protocol. Dr. Nora Chen squinted at the holographic display hovering above her workstation. The quantum detection array had been picking up anomalous readings for the past 3 hours, and something about the pattern struck her as deliberately structured. Too orderly for cosmic background radiation. Too persistent for a sensor glitch. Dr. Chen called out her assistant, Raj. The signal strength just increased by 400%. Whatever it is, it's getting closer. Nora brushed a strand of gray-streaked black hair from her face and adjusted her lab coat. At 52, she'd spent more than half her life preparing for this moment. The Unified Defense Initiative had recruited her fresh out of MIT's quantum physics program 30 years ago, back when most people still thought alien contact was the stuff of science fiction films. "Alert Director Hammond," she said calmly. "Initiate First Contact Protocol." Across Earth, in coffee shops and subway stations, on farms and in skyscrapers, people's personal devices chimed simultaneously with a notification. The message was simple. Attention. Unidentified vessel approaching Earth orbit. First Contact Protocol active. Please continue normal activities. Updates to follow. In New York City, stock traders glanced at their phones, shrugged, and returned to their terminals. In Lagos, street vendors continued haggling with customers, occasionally glancing skyward. In Tokyo, commuters watched the news on train displays with mild curiosity before returning to their morning routines. At UDI headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains, Director Hammond strode into the command center, his military bearing evident despite his civilian clothes. "Status report," he said, joining Nora at the central console. "The vessel dropped out of what appears to be some form of FTL travel at the edge of our solar system. It's been accelerating toward Earth since then. Current trajectory puts it in orbit in approximately 20 minutes. Hammond nodded. "Any attempts at communication?" "None yet, but the quantum signature is unlike anything in our database. This is definitely not human technology." The room hummed with focused energy as dozens of specialists monitored their stations. No panic, no chaos, just the quiet efficiency of people who had trained for this moment for decades. "They're broadcasting," announced Communications Officer Liam Wright. "Wide-spectrum transmission. Definitely intended for us to receive." Hammond straightened his jacket. "Let's hear it." The speakers crackled to life, and a harsh, metallic voice filled the command center. The language was utterly alien, clicking consonants and resonant tones that no human vocal cord could produce. "Translation algorithms engaged," Wright said. A moment later, the alien speech transformed into eerily precise English. "Attention, insignificant species of the third planet. This is Commander Xarthul of the Valkyrie Dominion Warship Dominator. Your primitive civilization has been deemed unworthy of independent existence. Submit to immediate integration into the Dominion or face obliteration. You have one planetary rotation to surrender your governing authorities. Resistance will result in demonstration of force beyond your comprehension." The transmission ended with a burst of static. For a moment, silence filled the command center. Then Director Hammond chuckled. "Unworthy of independent existence. That's a new one." He turned to Nora. "What's your assessment, Doctor?" Nora's fingers danced across her console, bringing up energy readings from the alien vessel. "Impressive weaponry. Certainly. Energy signatures suggest directed plasma weapons, gravitational manipulation technology, and some form of quantum entangled shielding. Advanced, but not incomprehensible." She looked up at Hammond with a small smile. "Nothing we haven't prepared for." Hammond nodded and turned to communications. "Send the standard first contact response, Protocol Delta 7. Wright nodded and initiated the transmission. On screens throughout the command center, they watched as Earth's official response was sent to the alien vessel. "Thank you for contacting Earth. Your message has been received and is being processed. Please stand by for our response. Estimated wait time, 6 hours." A small timer appeared beneath the message, counting down from 6 hours accompanied by a gentle, soothing melody that Earth's psychologists had determined would be maximally irritating to most sentient species. "Think they'll wait?" asked Hammond. "They'll wait," said Nora. "Species capable of developing interstellar travel typically value patience. Besides, they'll want to analyze our response for weaknesses." She pulled up another display showing global activity. Meanwhile, activation of the quantum shield network is proceeding exactly as planned. All 217 nodes are powering up sequentially to avoid detection. The quantum shield network was Dr. Chen's life's work, a global defense system disguised as ordinary communications infrastructure. Hundreds of seemingly innocuous towers and satellite dishes around the planet were actually components of the most sophisticated defensive technology ever developed by humans. Dr. Chen called one of her team members. "The alien vessel has deployed smaller craft. 4 objects, approximately shuttle-sized, have detached from the main ship." Hammond frowned. "Reconnaissance or first strike?" "Neither," said Nora, studying the readings. "They appear to be positioning themselves in equidistant orbit around Earth. Most likely, they're setting up some sort of scanning grid." She tapped a sequence on her console. "I'm initiating Phase 2. Throughout the command center, holographic displays shifted to show hundreds of locations around the globe. In each one, teams of scientists and engineers were activating specialized equipment. None of these facilities appeared on any public records. None of them officially existed. Hammond watched the coordinated global response with satisfaction. The Valkyrie clearly think they're dealing with a pre-interstellar civilization barely capable of leaving its own planet. "A common misconception," Nora replied. "Most spacefaring species assume that if you haven't established colonies beyond your homeworld, you must be technologically primitive." She pulled up an image of the Valkyrie ship, a massive obsidian structure that resembled a barbed arrowhead. "They haven't done their homework." The alien ship maintained its position, the smaller craft completing their orbital arrangement. Occasional bursts of energy indicated scanning operations as the Valkyrie attempted to assess Earth's defenses. "They're getting impatient," noted Hammond as another transmission came through. The same metallic voice returned. "Your delay tactics are useless. Submit now, or we will provide a demonstration of our power. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us." Hammond looked to Nora, who nodded. "I think it's time for a little demonstration of our own, don't you?" "I believe so," she agreed, fingers already manipulating her console. Quantum shield network is fully operational. All nodes reporting ready status. Hammond straightened his tie. "Then let's show our visitors what primitive looks like. Authorized defensive response, level 2. Nora nodded and initiated the command sequence. "Response authorized. May I suggest we focus on their upper port weapon array? Their energy readings suggest it's their primary offensive system." "Proceed." In the vacuum of space, nothing visible happened. The Valkyrie ship maintained its threatening posture, the smaller craft continuing their scanning operations. Then one of the smaller vessels suddenly lost power, its lights flickering and dying, as it drifted from its precise orbital position. On the Valkyrie command ship, confusion reigned. "What happened to Scout Vessel 3? demanded Commander Carthol, his multiple appendages gesticulating in agitation. "Unknown, Commander," responded his second-in-command. "All systems suddenly failed. No warning, no detected weapon impact." "Impossible. These primitives have no technology capable of." "Commander, the port weapon array is reporting system failures across all nodes." Carthol's compound eyes widened in disbelief. "How are they doing this?" "There are no energy signatures, no projectiles." Back in the UDI command center, Nora watched with satisfaction as her quantum shield network performed exactly as designed. The system didn't attack in any conventional sense. It simply altered the quantum state of targeted systems, causing them to spontaneously shut down without any visible cause. "The Valkyrie rely heavily on quantum entanglement technology," she explained to Hammond. Ironically, that makes them particularly vulnerable to our countermeasures. We're essentially introducing quantum decoherence into their systems. Hammond watched the displays showing the alien ship's power fluctuations. In English, Doctor. We're making their technology forget how it works, she simplified with a small smile. The communication system crackled again as another transmission came through from the Valkyrie ship. The metallic voice now carried an undercurrent of confusion. What technology is this? You will explain immediately. Hammond looked to Nora, who nodded. I think we can take their call now. Hammond straightened his jacket again. Put me through. The largest screen in the command center shifted to show the interior of the alien vessel. Commander Carthol was an imposing figure, 7 feet tall with an exoskeleton that gleamed like polished obsidian. His 4 arms ended in clawed appendages, and his head featured compound eyes that reflected the light in iridescent patterns. I am Director Jonathan Hammond of Earth's Unified Defense Initiative. We've received your demands and have prepared our response. Carthol's mandibles clicked in agitation. What technology are you using against our vessels? It is not possible for a pre-interstellar civilization to possess such capabilities. Hammond smiled politely. I believe there's been a misunderstanding. We chose not to establish off-world colonies. That doesn't mean we couldn't. On cue, Nora activated another system. Across Earth's surface, hundreds of concealed installations powered up simultaneously. In orbit, satellites that had appeared to be ordinary communications equipment transformed, revealing sophisticated technological components that had been hidden in plain sight. Carthol's compound eyes widened further as his ship's sensors registered the sudden appearance of advanced technology throughout Earth's orbit and on the planet's surface. Impossible, he whispered. Not impossible, replied Hammond. Just carefully planned. Humanity has known about the wider galactic community for over 70 years, Commander. We've been intercepting communications, studying technology fragments, and preparing. The alien commander's confusion turned to anger. Then you have been deceiving the galactic powers. This is in violation of. We've violated nothing, interrupted Hammond calmly. We simply chose a different path. Rather than announcing ourselves prematurely, we prepared. Rather than expanding outward, we focused on perfecting our defenses. He leaned forward slightly. And now, it seems that preparation is paying off. Carthol's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. You will return control of our systems immediately. That depends entirely on your next actions, Commander, Hammond replied. We have no interest in conflict, but we are thoroughly prepared for it. Perhaps we should discuss more productive alternatives. Before Carthol could respond, one of his crew interrupted with visible alarm. Commander, energy buildup detected in their orbital platforms. They're targeting our main propulsion systems. Carthol whirled back to the screen. This is an act of war. Hammond remained completely calm. Not war, Commander. Just a demonstration. Dr. Chen, would you show our visitors what happens when they attempt to use their primary weapon systems against us? Nora nodded and initiated another sequence. The quantum shield network hummed with power as it focused on the Valkyrie warship's main weapons array. On the alien vessel, control panels began to flicker. Warning signals blared as system after system spontaneously shut down. What is happening? Demanded Carthol. As we speak, explained Nora, stepping into view of the communication screen. Your weapon systems are being temporarily reconfigured at the quantum level. The effect is reversible, this time. On the display, they watched as the Valkyrie crew frantically attempted to restore their systems. Carthol's exoskeleton had taken on a distinctly paler hue, apparently the alien equivalent of going white with shock. Who are you people? He finally asked, his voice quieter. Hammond smiled. We're humanity, Commander, and we've been expecting you, or someone like you, for a very long time. As the Valkyrie commander struggled to comprehend what was happening, Earth continued about its business. In Tokyo, a businessman bought his morning coffee. In Rio de Janeiro, beachgoers played volleyball in the sand. In Nairobi, students attended their physics lectures. And beneath the Rocky Mountains, humanity's first contact with an alien species continued exactly according to plan. The human advantage. Commander HFY paced the command deck of the Dominator, his clawed appendages clicking against the metallic floor. 3 cycles had passed since their initial contact with the humans, and nothing had gone according to protocol. "Status of weapons systems," he demanded. His chief technician's head crest flattened in submission. "Partial functionality restored, Commander. Main graviton cannon remains offline. Shield generators operating at 34% efficiency." HFY suppressed a hiss of frustration. The Valkyrie Dominion had conquered 17 solar systems through superior firepower and the element of surprise. Never had they encountered a species capable of neutralizing their technology without firing a single conventional shot. "The High Command will not accept failure," he muttered. "Prepare secondary weapon systems. Target their largest population center. Perhaps these humans will reconsider when faced with civilian casualties." Across the vast distance of space, in the UDI Command Center, Dr. Nora Chen monitored the energy fluctuations aboard the Valkyrie vessel with practiced precision. "They're powering up secondary weapon systems," she reported to Director Hammond. "Targeting appears to be concentrated on the Greater East Asia Metropolitan Zone." Hammond frowned. "Civilian targets." "As expected. Options." Nora adjusted her glasses. "We could neutralize their entire ship, but I'd prefer to keep observing their technology in action. It provides valuable data. Dr. Patel's team is making remarkable progress with the reverse engineering program." On a secondary screen, Dr. Kai Patel appeared from his laboratory 10 levels below. Behind him, dozens of scientists worked with holographic models of Valkyrie technology, derived from the quantum scans they'd been conducting since the alien ship's arrival. "The propulsion system is fascinating," Patel reported, his eyes bright with scientific excitement. "They're using a form of quantum displacement that's similar to our theoretical models, but with several novel applications we hadn't considered." Hammond nodded. "How long until you can adapt it for our purposes?" "With the data we're collecting." "Days, not weeks," Patel replied confidently. "The nanite program is already incorporating their shield harmonics into our defensive systems." Hammond turned back to Nora. "Let them fire their secondary weapons. Contain and analyze." Nora nodded and entered a series of commands. In orbit, the Valkyrie warship's secondary weapons boards began to glow with accumulated energy. Pulses of searing plasma erupted toward Earth, targeting the sprawling megacity that stretched from Tokyo to Seoul. The citizens below never even looked up. The plasma bolts encountered Earth's quantum shield 20 miles above the surface. Instead of impacting or being deflected, the energy was simply absorbed, captured by a network of quantum particles that converted the destructive force into usable data. On the Valkyrie ship, disbelief turned to panic. "Direct hits confirmed," reported the weapons officer. "But no damage registered. Scans show no impact signatures, no atmospheric disturbance." HFY slammed his primary appendages against the command console. "Impossible. Scan again." "Commander," his science officer interrupted, "something else is happening. Our hull integrity sensors are detecting intrusions." "Intrusions? Are they boarding us?" "No, Commander. Much smaller. Microscopic entities are penetrating our hull at multiple points." Nora watched with satisfaction as the quantum shield network collected and analyzed the Valkyrie weapon signatures. Simultaneously, the second phase of Earth's defense activated. From concealed orbital platforms, swarms of advanced nanites were deployed, targeting the alien vessel. Each nanite was microscopic, invisible to conventional detection systems, but collectively they represented one of humanity's most sophisticated technologies. Programmed to infiltrate, analyze, and adapt, they were now seeping through the Valkyrie ship's hull at the molecular level. Nanite infiltration at 22% and rising, reported the technician monitoring the deployment. They're mapping the ship's internal systems and beginning selective interference. Hammond nodded. Time to implement the psychological component, I believe. Nora agreed, initiating the historical context protocol. Aboard the Valkyrie vessel, confusion turned to alarm as every communication screen suddenly activated simultaneously. What appeared was not threatening military imagery or demands for surrender, but something far more disorienting to the alien crew. Human history. The images began with early human ancestors, struggling against a harsh environment with only the most primitive tools. The narrative progressed rapidly. The discovery of fire, the development of agriculture, the rise and fall of civilizations. What is this? Demanded Exarthal. Some form of primitive intimidation tactic. His communications officer couldn't provide an answer, transfixed by the rapidly advancing historical narrative. The history continued, showing human conflicts, world wars, and their aftermath, followed by periods of remarkable cooperation and technological advancement. The narrative was clear. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats repeatedly, not from alien invaders, but from its own nature and environment. And each time, they had adapted, survived, thrived. This makes no tactical sense, muttered Exarthal, yet he couldn't look away from the presentation. The final sequence showed decades of secret preparation, the founding of the UDI after the recovery of an alien probe in 1986, the systematic development of quantum technologies, the global cooperation that had occurred completely hidden from outside observation. Exarthal's compound eyes reflected the images with growing comprehension. They knew we were coming. Not us specifically, but someone like us. Commander, interrupted his science officer, voice trembling. The microscopic intrusions are now affecting our primary systems. They appear to be reconfiguring our technology. In the UDI command center, Dr. Patel's team watched with excitement as the nanite swarm transmitted a continuous stream of data from the alien vessel. It's working perfectly, Patel reported. The nanites are not only gathering technological information, but implementing subtle changes to their systems. We're basically upgrading their technology while studying it. Hammond raised an eyebrow. Upgrading? Improving efficiency, clarified Nora. Making minor adjustments that demonstrate our understanding of their systems. It's another psychological tactic, showing that we can not only neutralize their technology, but improve upon it. Commander, the panic in the Valkyrie technician's voice was unmistakable. Our systems are being modified. Power efficiency has increased by 17%. Computational processes are accelerating beyond designed parameters. Exarthal stared at the readouts in disbelief. They're not destroying our technology. They're improving it. Another transmission request from Earth interrupted his confusion. This time, when Hammond appeared on screen, Exarthal noticed something different in the human's expression. Not triumph or aggression, but something closer to curiosity. Commander Exarthal, Hammond began. I believe we've made our defensive capabilities sufficiently clear. Perhaps now we can discuss more productive avenues of interaction. Exarthal's mandibles clicked slowly as he processed the situation. You could have destroyed us. We could have, agreed Hammond. But destruction is inefficient. Knowledge and cooperation are far more valuable resources. The Dominion does not cooperate. We conquer. And how has that been working out for you today? Asked Hammond with a hint of dry humor. Before Exarthal could respond, Dr. Nora Chen stepped into the frame. Commander, we've been studying your propulsion technology. The quantum displacement field you use for faster-than-light travel is remarkably similar to theoretical models we developed decades ago. However, we've identified several potential improvements that could increase your efficiency by approximately 34%. To demonstrate, she sent a data packet to the alien vessel. On their screens appeared a complex quantum equation that modified their existing technology in ways the Valkyrie engineers immediately recognized as superior to their current implementations. "Why would you share this?" asked Xarthol, genuine confusion evident in his voice. "Consider it a gesture of good faith," replied Nora, "and a demonstration of the benefits of cooperation over conflict." Xarthol fell silent, his compound eyes shifting as he processed this unprecedented situation. In all the Dominion's history of expansion, never had they encountered a species that could not only defend against their technology, but actively improve upon it. "The High Command will not accept this outcome," he finally said. "Perhaps," agreed Hammond, "but they might be interested in what we're about to offer." Nora nodded and activated the final phase of their first contact protocol. "Commander, we're about to transmit specifications for what we call the quantum resonance wave. It's a technology we developed specifically for peaceful interaction between quantum-based civilizations." The data streamed to the Valkyrie ship, complex but elegantly designed specifications for a communication technology that would allow instantaneous data transfer across vast distances without the limitations of conventional transmission methods. This would revolutionize our entire communication network," whispered the Valkyrie science officer. "Precisely," said Nora. "It's one of many technologies we're prepared to share with civilizations who choose cooperation over conquest." She paused, allowing the implications to sink in. "You came here expecting to find a primitive civilization ripe for conquest. Instead, you found potential partners who have spent decades developing technologies you haven't even conceptualized yet." Hammond leaned forward slightly. "Commander, you have a choice to make. Return to your High Command and report your failure to conquer Earth, a failure they may not respond to kindly. Or return with something far more valuable. An opportunity for technological exchange that could benefit both our civilizations." For the first time since their arrival, uncertainty showed clearly in Xarthol's posture. The calculus was changing before his eyes. "You would share your technology with us after we threatened your world." "We understand the impulse toward expansion," said Hammond. "Humanity has its own history of conquest, but we've learned there are more productive paths forward." Nora added, "We've spent decades preparing for first contact, Commander. Not just developing defenses, but creating technologies specifically designed for mutual benefit." To prove their point, they transmitted another data set, this one containing preliminary designs for an integrated quantum communications network that could link multiple civilizations across vast distances of space. "What you're describing," said Xarthol slowly, "would change the fundamental nature of interaction between spacefaring species." "That's the idea," confirmed Hammond. "We call it the Galactic Collaborative. We've been designing it for decades, waiting for the right moment to propose it." The command center fell silent as Xarthol conferred with his officers, their alien language a series of clicks and harmonic tones that the translation software struggled to process. Finally, he turned back to the screen. "The High Command must be consulted, but—" He paused, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "I will advocate for consideration of your proposal." Hammond nodded, satisfied. "That's all we ask. In the meantime, we're happy to continue demonstrating the benefits of cooperation. Dr. Patel's team has some fascinating insights into how your graviton cannon could be modified to serve as a highly efficient energy generation system." As the conversation shifted to technical exchanges, the tension aboard both vessels noticeably decreased. What had begun as an invasion was transforming into something unprecedented, the first steps toward a new kind of interstellar relationship. Throughout Earth, daily life continued uninterrupted. In Shanghai, an artist completed a painting of the alien ship now visible in the daytime sky. In Buenos Aires, school children asked their teachers curious questions about their new visitors. In London, scientists eagerly awaited their turn to participate in the technological exchange program being rapidly established. Humanity had faced its first direct extraterrestrial challenge, and had responded not with panic or desperate resistance, but with the calm confidence of a species that had spent generations preparing for this exact moment. In her private office adjacent to the command center, Dr. Nora Chen updated her personal log. First contact day 1. Phase 3 completed successfully. Transition from defensive posture to collaborative engagement proceeding ahead of projected timeline. The Valkyrie possessed several technological approaches we hadn't anticipated, particularly in the field of gravitational manipulation. Integration of these concepts into our existing frameworks could accelerate our development by approximately 5 years. She paused, looking at the holographic image of the Valkyrie ship, now surrounded by Earth's nanite swarm in a delicate dance of technological exchange. Humanity's first step into the wider galactic community has been taken, she continued, not through conquest or submission, but through strength, preparation, and the uniquely human capacity for turning potential adversaries into partners. She closed the log with a final thought. The stars await, not as territory to be claimed, but as a frontier to be explored together. Outside her window, the sun set on humanity's first day as a recognized spacefaring civilization. It had not begun as they might have chosen, with an invasion rather than a peaceful greeting, but it was ending exactly as they had planned, with humanity standing confidently on the threshold of a much larger universe, prepared for whatever might come next.